Hello, you are watching Beyond Headlines on Freedom Square TV, reaching you from our studios in Enugu, southeast Nigeria. Nigeria's rapid urbanization has brought both opportunities and significant challenges. Housing deficits, traffic congestion, flooding, poor waste management, and environmental degradation. In the midst of this, the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners plays a crucial role in promoting organized, livable, and sustainable communities. Yet, as cities expand and populations swell, questions arise. Are we planning for people or reacting to problems? Is the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners giving the appropriate influence it needs to carry out its job? And what's the place of sustainable development in Nigeria's urban growth trajectory? Today, we'll explore the intersection between urban planning, sustainability, and governance. The Nigerian Institute of Town Planners at the center of the conversation. And so, I'm being joined this morning by no less a person than Town Planner OGBONNA CHIME, Ph.D., who is the National President of the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners. Town Planner and Doc, good morning and welcome to Beyond Headlines.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here.
Okay, many people are watching us right now, and they may not be very familiar, so to speak, with your institute. Can you briefly explain the mandate of the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners?
Thank you. The Nigerian Institute of Town Planners, as a professional body, has a very special mandate. And that mandate is to ensure livable settlements all over the country. Essentially, that's our mandate.
Say that again.
The mandate of the Institute is to ensure livable settlements all over the country.
Okay.
Yes. And of course, we do this in collaboration with different levels of government. Because as a professional body, we don't have a budget that we control. We offer suggestions through various means of advocacy to ensure that our people benefit maximally from government in terms of where they live and where they work.
Okay, briefly, what is the current state of town planning in Nigeria? And how effective has your institute been in shaping urban development?
Well, let me start with how effective it has been. In all sincerity, I will tell you that it hasn't been what it ought to be. Because for any organization to function, you need some elements of rules and regulations. But as we speak, I can, without mincing words, tell you that the country has no town planning laws in operation.
As a nation?
Yes, yes. I said this because in 1946, the then Nigerian government, colonial government, came up with an act on urban and regional planning called Town and Country Planning Law of Nigeria, 1946. That law was in operation from that date to 1992, when government in its wisdom decided that there was a need for a new town planning law for the whole country. And it brought together professionals from different fields in the built environment. Town planners, architects, engineers. And they were assigned the duty to come up with what is Nigerian as far as the practice of urban and regional planning is concerned. This body worked so hard, consulted worldwide, and at the end of the day, came up to what we now refer to the 1992 Nigerian Urban Regional Planning Law. Why I told you that as we speak, that we don't have any town planning law in the country that is operational, is that from that 1992, let me also emphasize that law repealed all previous town planning laws in the whole country.
Equivalent of 1946.
Of course, yes. And it was to kickstart a new life, a new urban and regional conditions for the whole country. The law having been crafted by our own Nigerian people with our own background. But between that time and today, that law is not being implemented. And that is why sometimes we wonder, a country operating without a town planning law. I don't know whether that sounds wise, even to you.
No, because I'm imagining all these urban developments.
Yes.
What if you don't have a law? All these cities grow, erupting everywhere. What have you been doing about that?
That is why we have urban problems in Nigeria. Slums springing up here and there. Because the law we're talking about has very wonderful provisions. I've already told you that it was crafted by Nigerians, Nigerian professionals. So they know who we are, how we behave, what we accept and what we don't accept. It has our culture at its background.
So what are the impediments?
The impediments, in fact, one of the major impediments, and first the major one, is that the federal government that promulgated this law is not implementing the law. Yes, because the implementation of the law at the federal level is actually what gives teeth to other tiers of government.
To the subnationals.
Yes, and of course, like I said, the law was promulgated by the federal government itself. And of course, we know that government is a continuum.
Yeah.
But at the federal level, in accordance with the provisions of that law, there is what we call National Fiscal Planning Commission that should operate at the federal level. In that commission, every state of the federation will be represented by a town planner, an architect. This professional must be registered anyway. A builder, an estate valuer, a land surveyor, and several other professionals. Then the commission has got to get a chairman. Like it's a town planning law. So the chairman of that commission has to be a registered town planner with a high level of experience. There is also supposed to be an executive secretary to that commission, who as well must be a town planner, because we are talking about town planning matters.
Town planning, yes.
But I think the essence of bringing in the other professionals in the built environment is to ensure that nobody is left out.
Yeah.
Yes, because we are town planners, right? But there are other aspects of the environment where we have other professionals, other experts. I think that was the wisdom in bringing in the other professionals in the built environment. Then, at the state level, there is supposed to be a board. For instance, I'm from Enugu State. There's supposed to be Enugu State Urban and Regional Planning Board. In that board, appointments will also be made of a chairman, who of course must be a town planner, a registered town planner, an executive secretary who must also be a registered town planner. You have a replication of what I listed at that national level. Okay? Then down the line at the local government level, you also have similar representations. A town planner as chairman, a town planner as executive secretary, then these other relevant professionals in the built environment.
So as you speak, are you saying that
The commission
the commission is not doesn't exist?
is not in place
For how long?
since the promulgation of the law. I know you'll be surprised, but that's the truth.
It's not that it's the truth. It's worrisome,
Thank you.
and it's challenging.
Okay.
A country as big, if you've traveled abroad, when you get into a city, you see the city is planned in every aspect of it. So what we've been doing, it been just let me use the native word mago mago, the mago mago kind of
Operating in a legal vacuum.
yes.
I mean,
Are you talking with the which minister now should be Minister of Housing and Urban?
yeah, Ministry of Housing and Urban Development.
I thought the commissioner is one of
The commissioner is an architect, is one of us.
an architect.
Yes. But remember, like I said, it didn't just start with this administration.
Yes.
The vacuum has been there from 1992 to the beginning of this administration, and this within this.
But somebody must put a stop to it.
Oh yeah.
That's why we're looking for transformative leaders.
Yeah.
Somebody must say, look, this is not right.
To me, I think this is the right time. Because as we speak, the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners, whose members and of course other professionals use this law, the institute is worried.
The public
worried.
knowing this should be worried.
Of course, yes. I think the public should be more worried than ourselves. Because we've never heard of it any other place. And because of this, we have decided under this administration that we're going to mount a national colloquium on the need for the implementation of this law.
Absolutely necessary.
And the date has been fixed for that. It's going to take place on the 27th day of October.
Oh, just here.
Yeah, just here, 2025. And within the period of our international conference. We're not taking it lightly because, of course, we shouldn't.
No, we shouldn't.
So all relevant government agencies, individuals who are stakeholders in the built environment have been invited because we want to find out whether government has forgotten or it prefers to operate without urban and regional planning law. But like I said, I think by the background of the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and of course the Honorable Minister, I want to believe that this is the time to get this law implemented.
The time is now.
Thank you.
It couldn't be more appropriate than to pursue that. And of course, you remember when you were inaugurated, I was there.
Yeah.
You talked about transformative leadership.
Yes.
This is one big challenge. And it's our prayer that you overcome this. Your name will be etched in gold.
Thank you.
If during your tenure, that they're able to implement this. Now, okay, from what you said, what would you think are the most pressing urban development issues facing Nigeria as today?
I think the first one is the law.
Yes, apart from that.
Because without the law, no society can actually be organized. Right? That's one. We need this law implemented. We need all the various states of the Federation to domesticate the law because it's a federal law. Some have done that. Many have not. Okay? Then, another one is, if you look around the country, you discover that there are town planners, but there are no jobs for town planners. And yet, we are suffering from rapid urbanization.
Yes.
So, one major thing government needs to do is to employ as many town planners as possible. Because if that is not done, we shall continue to operate the way we are doing, which is not good enough. Because the rate of urbanization exceeds the rate of provision of basic infrastructures in the town. And of course, even when you provide the basic infrastructure, somebody needs to man them with what we call development control.
Yeah.
These are essentially done by town planners and some other professionals in the built environment. So we need to have town planners employed. And the only way to guarantee employment of town planners and other professionals in the built environment is to ensure that this law that we talked about is implemented, because it has provisions for employment of the relevant professionals, and they will drive the process of guaranteeing livable urbanization process.
If I take a cue from what you just said, I'm beginning to ask you a question. Our cities planned, are they unplanned?
Yes, that's a good question.
Are they planned or are they unplanned?
Because the truth of the matter is that at this present moment, we should not be talking about slums anywhere in Nigeria. The concept.
But there are slums in New York.
Huh?
There are slums in New York.
Oh, yes. They have to handle their own problem. What we are saying is that ordinarily, no settlement starts on its own. It has to be planned ahead in what we call urban and regional plans. That's coming up with urban and regional plans. This one operates as both urban and rural. Because really, you cannot begin to talk about only urban areas.
Yes.
Without talking about the rural areas, because they have a strong relationship. But the one that has to do with urban really is that every settlement should ahead of time be planned, right? It is the plan, the provisions in that plan, that actually determines how many people are going to be resident in the proposed settlement. What number of schools are going to be provided? What number of health institutions are going to be provided? And when that number, the number of people planned for, when it is reached, the usual thing is that government looks out for a new settlement to be planned. But you and I know that is not it yet.
If it's everybody says far. That's not
it's not it. And one other thing that worries even more is that all over the country, what you find everywhere, the in thing now is estates.
I'm actually coming to that.
Estates. I give Abuja as an example. Abuja is essentially the only city in Nigeria that is planned. Oh, yes.
Even in the absence of the law.
The planning of Abuja started before the law was promulgated.
Okay, yes.
So, in Abuja, you find slums everywhere. But the most worrisome one is this development of estates. If you pick the master plan of Abuja, you won't find any place designated for estates. You understand? And like I said, in every master plan, the smallest settlement within a master plan is called a neighborhood. And that neighborhood contains not more than 10,000 persons, residents. The major facility in every neighborhood, the highest government facility in every neighborhood is a primary school. This primary school takes care of the needs, educational needs of the children of the residents of that neighborhood.
Yeah.
And what does it do? It prevents the parents from running up and down every morning. What you do, because every neighborhood is not to be thoroughfare. That is to say, you don't have a major road that passes through a neighborhood. So children could trek to school and come back without worrying their parents school run in the morning, school run in the afternoon.
Somebody going from Transekulu to Gariki.
That is it. And see what it does. Within the peak hours in the morning, this practice of having a primary school per every neighborhood reduces the number of vehicles on the road outside that neighborhood. You understand? Because what you see now, early in the morning, either the father or the mother is busy running out,
Or both.
running out from the neighborhood to drop their kids
Even before going to work.
before going to work. You understand? So within that period, you see, there are so many vehicles on the road, all in pursuit of dropping their kids and wards to different schools scattered all over the city. But if you comply with these principles of the neighborhood, first of all, every child within the neighborhood will go to school within that neighborhood. The stress will be off the parents, the stress will be off the students. But currently, like I said, it's not only Abuja, but I just decided to use Abuja as an example.
Yeah.
All over the place, you have estates. When you get into these estates, you begin to wonder. Within the estates, you don't even have a kindergarten school in some of them, not to talk of primary school.
Educational centers.
Yes.
And all that.
Of course, within that place, you can have a football field. Our girls just defeated the rest of African girls.
Yes.
And returned home. Within that neighborhood, I mean, within the estate, no football
Because they can't
field.
afford to give that kind of land
Yes.
for
No football field,
no basketball.
no basketball,
no
hockey,
lawn tennis.
lawn tennis, whatever. You don't find them.
Yeah, because if you actually been abroad and you visited the neighborhood, you will find all those within a cluster of an area. You know, is
So that's why we're saying that for any settlement to be what it should be, there has to be a master plan prepared ahead of time. And this master plan has provisions for the basic needs of the residents, who be the residents of that neighborhood.
Mr. President, this brings me to a critical point in our lives, especially in Enugu State. We should be a little mindful. Not long ago, our hardworking governor, let me put it this way, our hardworking governor did, can't remember the other word, that proclaimed certain areas as urban areas.
Yeah.
It could be not limited to the next village to our own Willicott. I hosted the commissioner. Yes, I hosted the commissioner for lands at the time, and I asked him, "Willicott is an urban by proclamation?" He said, "Yes." I said, "I've not seen anything that changed there. Does the city become an urban by mere proclamation?" Well, he battled with the answer yes or no, but so I'm seeing the challenge that's facing your institute and their profession. If it's more than 6 months that proclamation was made, there are several cities like that. What makes an urban area is my question. How can you not say a place is urban?
It's urban. Okay,
Yeah.
good. Well, first of all, for a place to be urban, it has to be outside primary production.
What does that mean for those who are watching us?
Yes. What it means is that it doesn't have to be, how do I put it? It doesn't have to be a place where farming is the predominant occupation.
Okay.
That's the primary production.
Okay, yeah, okay.
It must be a place that has gone beyond primary production. Maybe a place that has gone into processing of agricultural commodities. Then, it usually has a minimum population. In Nigeria, we still take 20,000.
20,000?
Yes, 20,000 people as the minimum population of an urban area. Then the place must also have some of these basic needs: commercial banks, hospitals, and so many other things that actually distinguishes such a place from the rural area. Let me also add that there's a strong relationship between the rural area and the urban area. They are complementary in nature. The urban area processes the raw materials supplied by the rural area into it. Because it's only that you can have industries, different classes of industries, that actually they place demand on the supply of raw materials from the rural areas. And I want to say that in the old Eastern region, that was a practice. Those commodities were produced at the rural level. The government uses its marketing agencies to purchase it direct from the farmers. In that case, the farmers will be sure that whatever thing they produce will be purchased so that they have the monetary power to continue with the activities. But a situation where everywhere becomes urban, it is dangerous and a little destructive. But let me add too, before we go away from this aspect. There was Dasuki Commission, 1976. That commission recommended that every local government headquarters should be declared an urban area. The expectation was that these things I mentioned as qualities of urban areas must have been provided being a local government headquarters. So I think in Enugu State, what our governor did was to expand the scope of the local government headquarters, maybe by 5 kilometers or 2 kilometers, and then incorporate them into the capital of the local government, the headquarters of the local government. Essentially, that's what I think.
Yeah, that could be a laudable intention.
Yes.
How that intention is met is a different thing altogether.
That is it.
Okay, Mr. President, we'll just take a short break. When we come back, we'll be looking at sustainable cities. Because this day we talk about sustainability.
Yes.
A place could be urban, and over time it could become rural. Things have gone so bad.
Oh yes. The trend is reversing.
Yes, it's reversing. So we'll be back shortly.
Not everything makes it into the headlines, but we bring you the full story. Join Uchenna Cyril Anioke, a renowned media personality and former president of the Nigerian Publishers Association, as he unpacks the real issues behind the news, from politics to public policy, economy to human rights. Nothing is off limits. Expert guest, in-depth conversation, local and global perspective. New episode every week on Facebook and YouTube. Watch now on Freedom Square TV. Follow for updates and behind the scenes clips. Beyond the headlines, beyond the news.
You are still watching Beyond the Headlines on Freedom Square TV, and my guest is still the national president of Nigerian Institute of Town Planners, Town Planner OGBONNA CHIME, Ph.D. Mr. President, before we went on break, I had mentioned the issue of sustainable cities. People are talking about sustainable development, sustainable growth. You could actually grow, and over time you decay, and then you go back to ground zero.
Yes.
So what does sustainable development mean in the context of Nigerian urban planning?
Well, thank you very much. When you have a growth in a particular system, take it this year that the rate of provision of basic infrastructure in our various urban areas have grown from what it used to be to somewhere higher. And next year, you also see a growth in the system, moving from what it is this year to something higher. When that growth is sustained, over a period of time, you have development.
Yes.
Yes. Then, when we're talking about sustainable development, it means, sustainable cities.
Yes.
We are saying that all the factors that make the cities what they should be have continued to increase on a steady perception over a period of time. Then in that case, we can be talking about a city that has been able to provide the basic needs of the residents and then has provisions for even those that will come later.
Yes.
That's what that means. But for that to happen, such a city must have had a master plan. What a master plan does is to guide the fiscal development of a particular settlement. And like I said that earlier on, for a city to be what it should be, the master plan must be prepared ahead of people coming in to live in there. So that when you come into the city, you are guided, you are bound to live in accordance with the provisions of that master plan. If the master plan says we're going to have low density residential areas, medium density, high density, and then the plots are designed in accordance with that provision. So whosoever is coming, your duty is to decide, am I qualified? Can I afford to live in the low density area? If you care, then you do the needful. You go to the appropriate government agencies, for instance, Ministry of Lands and Urban Development, and apply for a form, get an application form, and then fill what you want. Allocation could be made to you in accordance with your desire. In that case, you already know where you're going. You all know the demands of what you want. That you have to be controlled. You have to abide by the provisions of the scheme of that particular area. If it is the industrial aspect, you have medium industrial outfits. You have the large-scale one. So if you are an industrialist and you are interested in investing in that particular settlement, you'll be guided ahead of time. You will apply for what you need, and there are conditions attached. Because before you, of course, begin to effect any physical development on ground, you must have gotten an approval from the relevant town planning authority. It is that town planning authority that specifies what are needed. They will supervise you from the beginning to the end. Of course, within the town planning authority, you have the town planners, you have the engineers, you have the public health officers. So they will check everything to ensure that it complies with government rules and regulations. Even when you are given the approval, like I said, they will still supervise you from the beginning to the end to ensure that you don't go outside what government said should be done there.
Do you know why I'm chuckling and why I am just almost like as I was explaining it, something was running through my head. And without prejudice to anybody, I see our cities, including our Enugu, that are not that long. Let me tell you, because of what you just said, I recall when I was MD of housing, one of the biggest challenges I had was in Transikulu, and it still exists, where you find people building hotels. A 3-bedroom flat is converted into a hotel automatically. No change in the purpose clause. You find them building hospitals. You find them building lounges and nightclubs. Then, do I talk about petrol stations? No, just take a look at our city. Wherever. I recall once I had to ask the planning unit of housing to pull down a house of a building of a very top government official that was actually living in Owerri. In what you now call high density, 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom bungalow. He said to erect a dupe. And I said, okay, this cannot be done. He told me I have connections with their governor, blah, 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 blah. I said, No, if other person has just a 2-bedroom and then you are doing a 1-story building, you will do a survey. Let me, you just be overlooking. No. If you want to build this, go with the man said no. I told the town planning unit, if I come to work tomorrow and that building is still standing, all of you will lose your job. We got it down. So I'm not taking that, looking at our cities in Nigeria, not Enugu in particular, where you find where people ought not to erect certain structures, they are there. And if I say without prejudice, that most cities we have in Nigeria are urban slums because they do not follow specifically. And so that takes me to a crucial question. Whether the urban law is implemented, what is the relationship of your institute and their profession and local government authorities in Nigeria?
Well, just like I told you, ours is advocacy. We tell government what should be done and how it should be done so that it will be of benefit to members of the public. Then it is left for government to accept our suggestions. If all our suggestions have been accepted over the years, you won't find most of these things you find in the country. All over the country. You won't find them. I tell you, somewhere here in our Enugu, that's cooperative housing layout. It's in Abapanike. As we speak, somebody attempted erecting a building on the road. With all the contravention notices served, he still went ahead until when it became so difficult for him to continue. But the structures are still there. The nearby residents of the place, they are suffering because he has blocked the drainage channel through which water naturally flee into a nearby stream. So if you go there, well, my attention was called to that. I saw it and of course called the relevant government agencies. I think that was why it was stopped. But as we speak, those who are resident within that neighborhood are suffering because you don't have a pool of water in front of their gates. So I don't know.
Excuse me. That's that speaks to our development. But okay, town planners.
Okay, there was the question, the relationship
Yes.
between the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners,
yes,
the states,
and local
and
government.
the local government. Of course, I've answered that. Ours is to tell the world, tell the government,
This is what we want.
this is the way it should be done. If they agree, it will be done. If they don't agree, we continue to advocate. That's what we are doing is wrong. Let's do it the right way. But again, the other relationship is that it is our members who are in charge of town planning authorities, who are in charge of Ministry of Lands and Urban Development in the states, the town planning department. So we have a level of control over such members because their employers are government, not Nigerian Institute of Town Planners. But what we usually do is that when any of such professionals do things that are not supposed to be done, that do not follow procedures, we have a way of disciplining them so as to bring back their senses into the professional ethics.
Okay. You actually answered a lot of the questions I have, but I'm wondering, how can communities and local residents be involved in urban planning decisions?
No. By the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners, everybody is a partaker. Everybody is a stakeholder in preparing master plans these days. You don't prepare for the people. Rather, you prepare it to the people.
Okay.
You understand? In that case, you get the views of even the market woman, because everybody has an experience over the happenings within the urban areas and even the rural areas. So it's no longer a situation where a master plan is prepared for the people. Rather, the consultant town planner in charge of the preparation of the master plan, together with other professional bodies, the engineers, the architects, the surveyors, the lawyers, even you, the politicians, journalists, everybody is involved. Because you have series of stakeholders meeting
Yeah.
before a complete master plan could be evoked for the use of the people.
Do you think, of course, you must have a statistics or a database of your members. Do you think that we have enough town planners in Nigeria?
I tell you, we don't. We don't at all. But the question is, even the ones we have, are they employed? They are not employed. But there are vacancies all over the world, all over the country. But they're not employed.
So
Well,
who is responsible for this?
Of course, the major employers of labor is government. The federal government, the state governments, the local government areas. What you have misplacement of priority. That's what it is. Because every square meter of land in any state, be it at the federal or state, must be under the control of a town planning authority.
And that's not the case now.
It's not the case. We have a better, even initially, it was better here in Enugu, I must confess, because Enugu happens to be the only state that has the highest number of town planning authorities in Nigeria.
Let's say that.
Oh no, that's a fact. I think it was during the time of CHIME. You know, every place that is seen to have potentials for early urbanization, a town planning authority was established there.
Yes.
And that is why even
the development centers
the development centers automatically became town planning authorities.
Yes.
So Enugu had the highest number of town planning authorities. But the truth of the matter is that these authorities are not staffed.
They're not staffed.
We would rather have a situation where you have one town planning officer for 4 town planning authorities. I mean, that's not what it should be.
Okay. As we try to come to the close of this conversation, just for emphasis, you said it before, but for emphasis, what would a well-planned Nigerian city look like?
Well-planned Nigerian city.
What would it look like?
I would have said like Abuja, but if I say that, I'll be wrong. Because within Abuja, you have slums.
Yes.
Already. So we are saying that a well-planned city in Nigeria must have a master plan prepared ahead of time to direct on what should be done and what should not be done within that proposed city. And then that we should have enough professionals in the built environment to monitor compliance with the provisions of that scheme. Not for a month, not for a year, not for 10 years, but over the years. You understand? So that anywhere what is not provided in the master plan is being done within the proposed city, the process should be followed to remove it. Right? So if that city grows to its full capacity, it becomes an ideal city. So I'm saying that an ideal city in Nigeria should be a city guided by provision of a master plan that guides it from the beginning to the end.
Okay, and what may perhaps be my last question is, if you're asked to say, what would you recommend as the 3 most important reforms that government must implement for us to have an urban and sustainable city in Nigeria?
Well, but I think we had talked about earlier on, but you said for purposes of emphasis.
Yes, what I do, because
one, but the most important, like I said earlier on, is to have a law that says what should be done and what should not be done. But in Nigeria, we have the law, but the law is not being implemented. So I would rather say it is to implement the Nigerian Urban and Regional Planning Law of 1992. That is what. Then, the implementation of that law will come with it employment of town planners and other professionals in the built environment. Because even when you have the law, but you don't have people to drive the law to achieve the purpose of that urban purpose, it will die along the line, right? Then we're also saying that efforts we made to educate the Nigerian people on the need for planning and then adhering to provisions of the plans, be it at urban and regional planning level, be it at master plan level, be it at ordinary scheme, people must adhere to the provisions of that law. I'll tell you one thing. In most states of the Federation, because I've been able to visit up to 10 states already, what you find is this GIS syndrome. Government is beginning to take GIS as an end to itself, but it's not. It is rather a means to an end. Because what the GIS, the way it is being set up in many states of the Federation, is to take up the duty of this registry, right? And for any this registry to work, it must have approved layout plans, master plans, registered by government. It is these plans that actually feed this registry on what it should do and what it should not do. The survey department in the ministry should also be allowed to do its work. It is the combination of town planning department and survey department of the ministry in charge of urban and regional planning that actually provide the raw materials to be used by, like for instance, you have in Enugu, NGs.
Yes.
These are the two departments that provide what they should use. But at worst situations, a town planner, from what I've seen overseas, is always the director, what they call DG,
Yes.
of that geographic information system.
Systems.
That's the way to make it work. You don't bring somebody who doesn't know anything about town planning, he doesn't know anything about survey, he doesn't know anything about estate management, and make him the DG. It will fail on the first day
on arrival.
On arrival.
Dead on
Yes.
arrival.
Yes.
Okay, before I let you go, I think last week or thereabout, you were in Abuja.
Yes.
Was it the housing conference or something?
Yeah, African International
Africa, yes, housing show.
Housing Show.
Yes, I read your comment to you. I saw a picture with Jerry Ghana,
Okay.
and then you made a recommendation
Yes.
about an award. Can you speak to that?
Yes.
Can you speak to that?
Thank you. You see, we have a problem. It's not only in Nigeria. I think Africa as a whole. There is this young man. He's a lawyer, not a town planner,
Okay.
not an estate valuer, not a land surveyor, not an architect. He came from nowhere and has revolutionized housing issue in Nigeria. The name is town planner Festus Adebayo. He started this 19 years ago. In fact, the one we just attended was the 19th edition,
African.
International Housing Show. What does he do? He brings people from all over the world together, not only Africa, to discuss housing problems, housing issues, challenges to housing in Nigeria. In fact, he has made Nigeria the headquarters for discuss on housing matters. You needed to attend any of the shows. So this guy has done this for 19 years. By next year, it will be 20th. And we're all watching and not saying much. If you ask me, he has done more than most people who were given national awards in this country. So my comment was that he should be encouraged. Government should encourage him.
How do you want government to encourage him?
Well, the first one is his effort should be recognized. That's one. Then two, all the discussions held for the past 19 years should be documented. And like Professor Jerry Gana, who was chairman of education, said that day, that we have come to a stage where we should be looking for raw materials for housing from within,
Yes.
within Nigeria and Africa. And how do we get this done? That's where I feel that government should come in. Some of the recommendations made over the years should be taken over by government and researchers appointed to see how some of these decisions could be converted into Africans sourcing their raw materials for building within Africa itself. Because we attended that. Next year we shall attend another one. And there has not been any strong sign that
the outcomes.
yes, that the outcomes of this show is being put into practice. I want to see a situation where raw materials from within Nigeria, from within other African countries, should be showcased. And then what advantages they have over what we import from overseas, or what we even produce in Nigeria by using raw materials from outside. We need to know how such could be compared with those. And that's the only way of bringing down the cost of housing in Nigeria. But we don't appear to.
On the last note,
Yes.
you had the chat with Jerry Ghana,
Yes.
and then how did that make you feel? As kids, we read about Jerry Ghana, we watched him on national television. There was the Mamsa thing, and now you are just like that. The kind of feeling I had when I was in Addis Ababa, and I met the writer of Food No Child,
Okay.
Gugu Wachongo.
Google Wachongo, yes.
He was actually on a wheelchair.
Wow.
I had to take a personal picture with him.
Oh.
And when he saw my red cap, he said, "Bachebe's brother." I said yes, and he told me beautiful stories about himself and Bachebe.
Good.
So Jerry Ghana is an icon.
It really is.
So I said,
Let me take you from there.
yes.
Do you know what I asked the prof?
Go ahead.
Because the prof looked younger than me. I asked him what was the magic. That he was growing younger. I think the truth of the matter is that it depends on individuals.
Yes.
How do you live your life? You know, after a point, nobody heard about him again.
Yeah.
Yes. He decided to take a rest.
He respected himself.
Honestly. I respect him. Honestly. The way he spoke showed exactly who he was and who he still is. He's a true Nigerian. His comments impressed me.
Thank you.
And that was why I decided to review his comments.
Yes.
That was the one you read.
Yeah, the one I
Yes.
read. And this is a good point to start this conversation. But before I do that, I want to once again thank the president of the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners, OGBONNA CHIME, Ph.D., who, despite all odds, was able to make it to the studio this morning. I want to thank you, your sacrifice. You have reached a lot of Nigerians. And I do hope that when this conversation goes into the media space, the Nigerians will have learned in fact, that me, as a person in particular, I've learned quite a couple of lessons on urban development, sustainable cities, and I'm sure our viewers must also be enriched. Thank you very much. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
The role of the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners in creating sustainable, organized spaces cannot be overemphasized. That's the lesson we're taking away from here. Well, for our audience, what kind of cities do you want to live in? A planned one or unplanned one? Be part of this conversation on our social media handles: Facebook, YouTube, at Freedom Square TV. Thank you for watching and have a blessed day. I was there at your inauguration, and it was well attended, and you made robust promises. So I asked you before we end this program, what? I'm not going to know one year.
No, not at all.
Okay.
I was inaugurated in That was December 5,
Okay.
2024.
Okay. So, what plans do you have for institutes and by implication Nigerians?
Yeah, I came up with some programs that my administration would handle. One of it, in fact, the major one, is the implementation of the Nigerian Urban and Regional Planning of 1992.
Okay.
We have gone very far. First of all, we have aroused the interest of Nigerians on the need for this law to be implemented. And I think I mentioned it earlier on.
Yes, indeed.
We have a national colloquium proposed for 27th of October 2025. At that colloquium, more facts will be revealed on the important need to have this law implemented. Because until it is implemented, so many funny things will be happening and nobody will be held responsible. Because that law has 3 levels of implementation: the federal, the states, and then the local government. Many town planners, whiling away their time, no job. But the implementation of the law is going to be a gift for Nigerians as a people. And then particularly younger town planners, architects, engineers, builders, particularly for them, because it does give them hope of practicing what they learned in our various universities and polytechnics. So we have gone far, and by the special grace of God, of course, including your own participation as a journalist, the whole world will get to know that as we speak, Nigeria is operating without any town planning law. And of course, that will be the catalyst needed for this law to go into full implementation. That was a promise I made, and we've gone far in getting that done. I remember I also promised my colleagues that the relationship between us and our regulatory body, that is Town Planners Registration Council of Nigeria, the relationship hadn't been so well, But I promised my colleagues that I was going to walk into it. Go into it,
Yeah.
and ensure that whatever were the hitches will be smoothened up to guarantee a smooth relationship, a cordial relationship between the two bodies. That is already achieved.
Oh, achieved.
Oh, of course.
That's
If the achievement hadn't been true, it would have been difficult for us to fulfill other promises I made. For instance, I said that presently, it's becoming difficult for young Nigerians to go into the university to study urban and regional planning or the polytechnics. Why? Because before now, geography was, as a O-level subject, was made compulsory for anybody who would want to study urban and regional planning. I said I was going to look into that, and then possibly seek for an alternative to geography. On a good note, I want to tell you that the latest meeting of Town Planners Registration Council of Nigeria has adopted economics. Yes.
Okay, economics
will now be an alternative to geography.
What has happened to geography?
No, that's the question. We made geography compulsory when there are no geography teachers again.
Okay.
You don't find geography teachers anywhere. And even before now, those of us that studied the course in the early 80s, economics was an alternative.
Okay.
I didn't study geography at my secondary school level. Though we had a geography teacher then at St. Patrick's. But I didn't study geography. I used economics as an alternative. And let me tell you one thing that I don't know how to put it. Those of us that came with economics as an alternative I won't say all of us, performed better than those who came in
with geography.
With geography. But what council recommended actually is that maybe in the first year of such students, the course content should be beefed up with the study of geography. Because I tell you honestly, geography is very necessary.
Yeah.
Yes. It's very necessary. But not so necessary that economics cannot be an alternative. Good, I think council has approved that.
Oh, that's great.
Yes. Yes. There are so many other areas.
Yeah, but these are low-hanging fruit that at least you can say now.
Yes.
Oh, within this short period, we'll be able to accomplish that.
Honestly.
That meaning by the time you are done, a lot would have been accomplished. All the things you promised would have been accomplished.
Sure. I can't remember most of it, but a lot has been accomplished.
Well, it's good to hear this.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.